higher. You are listening to an exclusive review. ASOT, A State of Trance.
Welcome to another 10 questions, a little bit of an extra because we can't ask everything on A State of Trance. With this week, none other than Ferry Corsten. How are you doing, man?
I'm great, man. Yeah.
Okay, let's dive in straight away.
Right.
The first question comes from Mayur Bakshi. Any plans for a Gouryella album?
I'm not really sure. There is enough material now, almost. So obviously we did From the Heavens, which was more like a registration of the live show. So there's not something I can say 100% yes, but there's also not 100% no. I don't know yet.
Okay.
It depends on future tracks, I guess.
Because we mentioned it also in the regular show that not every track is named after heaven, a word for heaven.
Yeah.
Do you already know the next one? Like
no,
the next,
no.
Or is it something that you go on with every track?
Yeah. Of course, I've been looking for names that do that, that mean heaven in different languages. And I never really thought I would find Surga.
Yeah.
But I did. So I think I overlooked it. So perhaps it's something that happens over time.
So you saw the word Surga and you were like, okay, this is just make perfect sense.
Yeah, it's a cool word, just like Neba.
Yeah.
And all the titles, they all mean something beautiful, bigger than ourselves, really.
Heaven, angel.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking for. But it's not something I spend like 5 days of finding all the names for the future Gouryellas. Right?
But you already have a bunch of Gouryella tracks, so you could already sort of make an album if you want to.
Yeah. But I think if I would do an album, I feel like that album should really offer something extra instead of like just one new single, right?
Yeah.
It should be like 3-4 extra tracks. So that's something I should consider if
makes sense.
Yeah.
Next question comes from DJ Jerome. How old were you when you started working on your first music? Because System F Out of Blue was 20 years old now.
Yeah. My first track I made with 3 other guys when I was 16. Yeah. So
8 years ago.
Yeah, it's 8 years ago. So
do you still have vivid memories about sitting down? Because it was such different times. Nowadays we have Ableton and Cubase and Fruity Loops.
No, this was amazing. I mean, this was in my friend's bedroom. It was a pretty tiny bedroom, so 4 dudes in a bedroom. Sounds really bad when I say
Wait a minute, hold on.
Hang on a minute. But I remember the sampler that we were using. Now there's unlimited disk space if you have like a big hard disk, right? So, but then it was I think it was a Akai S7000 or something, or X7000. I can't remember the type. But it was a sample keyboard with, I believe, 2.5 seconds of stereo sample time.
Okay.
2.5 seconds.
So do you think it was harder back then because you had limited choices to use? So you really had to pick a certain sound and had to stick to it?
Yeah, I think it was harder, yes and no. Because on the one hand, yes, you had like very limited ways to create something. And therefore you became really creative, with what you had. So also you use the momentum that you had, like, wow, I'm really feeling it, to just go for it. And the tweaking came at the very end.
Yeah.
And right now there's a danger with all the plugins and infinite possibilities, right? That you halfway you sort of like, okay, let's just go tweak, and that's the end of your creative flow, right?
Yeah.
So the danger is that you don't finish your track before and then tweak after. You're halfway tweaking and then maybe I can make it sound even better and even better. And even when does it stop? That's the danger now. So I don't think it's harder per se.
You mentioned also on the regular show that you reworked some System F tracks and you made those 20-ish years ago.
Yeah.
With the limited possibilities, but you reworked them. Does it mean you cheated a little bit and used more like different plugins, more tracks or anything?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I really made sure that I made it sound like the originals. The only difference is that it sounds super punchy now.
Yeah.
Instead of like back in the way those tracks were produced, it was like a kick drum triggered right out of the 909 drum machine, live, and then all my samples were triggered MIDI, so it's all a little wonky and wobbly. And now it's all tight and punchy. And the synths are just a lot fatter. The bass lines are much tighter, so it just sounds a lot bigger. But it's still the same thing. If you would A/B it with with your original recording and the new one, you would be like, yeah, of course, I hear it.
Yeah.
But on the dance floor, it really kicks so much harder now. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, let's go to the next question. It's a very important one, I see. At PLTNM underscore US underscore NL underscore SV had the question.
Mm-hmm.
If you could pick any theme park in the world to play at, which one would it be?
If I pick anything, what?
Theme park.
Theme park. Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
With your kids, maybe?
Yeah. Well, it's easy to say Disney, but I being from Holland, I'm a big fan of the Efteling.
Really?
I love the Efteling.
Droomvlucht.
Droomvlucht, yeah, Baron and all of it. Hardwell knows about that. So, but yeah, no, the Efteling. If you're ever in Holland, right, guys, go to the Efteling.
And you would love to do a set there.
Yeah, that'd be great because they have this big field where they usually do in the winter they have the ice thing. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it would do really well.
People from Efteling listening right now, book this man for a show.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
And otherwise, second one would be Tivoli in Copenhagen.
I have never been there.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest theme parks I believe in the world, and it's just it still has that old grandeur in a way. So
okay,
yeah, really cool.
Nice. The next question comes from Chris Brancuno. I hope I didn't slay your name again. You have Guyala, you have System F, you have a ton of aliases, but you also have a team up with New World Punks, and he was wondering what happened to New World Punks.
New World Punks is it's just on pause for now. It's not. We didn't end it. It's when we did the New World Punks sound, it was also a product of the time.
Yeah.
Right. The
dark, deep, progressive.
Yeah, and the EDM
pumping.
In a way was there, but it was also like kicking against EDM, kicking against trance at the time. It was also like this.
The cool visuals, I remember.
Yeah. So, but we also, both Marcus and I felt like, okay, we're getting sucked into the whole New World Punks thing too deep. We started losing our own identity in this.
Yeah.
So we gave it a break. I started working on Guriella, the live show, and then he started working on Watch the World, his album. Right after that, almost we swapped roles. He started working on Dakota.
Yeah.
I started working on my album Blueprint, and before we knew it, it was like 2.5 years.
Do you think you will ever make another track again as New World Punks? You just don't know.
No, Marcus and I, we actually met up at a festival. What was it? Poland, Dream State, and we were actually talking about it. Like, hey, what would happen if we do a new?
It would be totally different.
Yeah, because it's a different time. The music is different. Our inspiration is different. We're both in a very different sort of mindset as well.
Yeah.
So, but it's definitely not something that would never happen again. We're definitely exploring it right now. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, the next question comes from Waiting Creed 2. It's going to be interesting. I'm very curious about this as well. What is your favorite trance track ever?
Oh, wow.
You can name one of yourself.
That's really, really hard, man. Because there's so many.
There's so many good ones.
So many amazing tracks out there. Yeah. Yeah, look, if name one of yourself, I mean, I got to be honest, and I'm just mentioning it because it has meant so much for me, and that would be System F Out of the Blue.
Yeah.
Just because it opened the doors for my 20-year career so far already.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, yeah, that must be it.
And if you had a track from someone else, another artist, maybe what inspired you to make System F Out of the Blue?
It was old Italo dance.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Italo dance from the 80s. Yeah.
Italo dance Out of the Blue.
Yeah. It's weird, but yeah,
it sucked you into the EDM feels.
Well, I feel like sometimes you really need to look outside your own bubble to get the inspiration to bring something new. Right?
Was it the bass lines?
The bass line is actually the snare drum, the big, that was typical. The soaring ring, that lead, right?
Yeah.
Very much. Yeah, but anything else?
Any particular track that pops up straight away when you say Italo dance?
Not that I can think of right now. I mean, it was just then 20 years ago when I was sort of like exploring that sound, but just
I remember we were in Mexico together also with Marcus, and we sat in the car on our way back from the venue to the hotel, and you guys were just playing stuff that I never heard of before from the 80s and the 70s and the 60s.
Yeah, there was all this Africa Bambata and stuff like that I don't know, funk, electronic hip hop.
You were like, hey, you remember this one? Remember this one? I was like, wow, I don't know any of these.
I think they call it freestyle. Also, the sound that we were listening to in the car then. But yeah, it was super inspiring, very different, from anything else you hear nowadays.
Yeah.
But if there was one other track that just pops into my mind right now that I've been a massive fan of. Way Out West, The Gift.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And see, but your reaction says it already.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, everything from Way Out
there's-
West was just...
Yeah, but there's so many tracks you can just mention, like, oh, this and that. Oh,
Yeah,
that was amazing,
that one. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, the next question comes from Fayyad Sa Modine. Of course, you had the track Exhale, you had a Minoc, you had Brut. When are you going to collaborate with Armin again?
That's a good one. Yeah, I think we're due for one.
It's about time.
It's about time. It's been quite a long time. Brood was 2008, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's we're well overdue.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. We should have a conversation with Armin.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah,
As soon
let's
as he
see.
gets back in the studio, we'll ask him.
Exactly.
The next question comes from Sub-Zero Project.hex. What is your favorite movie?
Oh. I think one of them would definitely be the old Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was
Because of
the-
the music?
Yeah, at the time, Vangelis did that, right? I mean, and the whole eeriness and the darkness about that movie and the story was just really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I've always been a sci-fi nerd, still am. So yeah, there.
Okay, the next question comes from Tone Ross. With the System F shows, can we expect new music from the project as well? So, like mentioned, or also Electronic Family, 20th of July. So
Yeah.
he's probably referring to that. Can we expect new music from the project as well?
There's nothing in the planning right now. I mean, unless I stumble, upon
It needs to happen.
it needs to happen. It's not like, oh, the next trance track that I put down is the next System F.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that because System F. A lot of people have a certain sentiment with that. Same thing with Goriella. The next trance track that I produce cannot be just the new Goriella. It
No.
needs to have that certain thing. I can't even put my finger on it, but it needs to have that exact feeling that when people hear this, they say, "Aha, yeah, I hear
This is System F."
This is a System
Yeah.
F track." So, and it's not like I cannot program my brain like that. Like, oh, sit down and make a new System F track. It doesn't work like that. Creativity, unfortunately, doesn't work like that.
How
right?
did you do that in the past? Because if you look at your Discogs, it's ridiculous how many aliases you have. How did you do that in the past? Like, you were like, okay, this is going to be this is going to be that. Did you sit down and decide it on beforehand, or was it afterwards?
I think it was also very often afterwards, and very often also during the process. I could already hear like, oh, this is starting to sound really like something like this. Or
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
What happened, by the way, with the Tsunami label?
That ended.
Because I'm just thinking about
Yeah.
all those the vinyls of System F. This everything in the colors and
Yeah, that ended. And we were basically changing things and started flashover recordings. And as a coincidence as well, the big tsunami happened when it was in Asia.
yeah.
So that was definitely a coincidence. When
You were like,
when
okay, this is
we-
meant to be to stop
it's-
this
yeah,
and
almost
new
like
chapter.
just the name tsunami from that time on had a pretty.
That's true.
Yeah, bad
That's-
taste.
The next question comes from Elucia. What was it like to play Anahera for the first time, and where was it? The
It
big
was-
comeback track in 2015.
Yeah, it was, I believe, in Australia.
Yeah?
Yeah, big trance festival. I can't remember the name, but that was the first Goriella show and the first time I actually played that track. But also, yeah, how did it feel? I mean,
Were you nervous playing it?
yeah, in a way, nervous / excited,
Yeah.
somewhere in the middle, because I saw the whole buzz exploding about.
First of all,
Anahera
everybody
and-
was like, oh, Goriella's coming back.
yeah, and,
You were like, huh, okay.
well, it's
Come on.
the one thing with bringing back a project like Goriella after so long, the expectation was just crazy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how can you live up to an expectation of something that has become so delicate almost over the years, right?
Yeah.
So I was really extremely cautious with the way I produced Anahera, the way it sounded, the way we rolled it out, that it would live up to that expectation. So also playing it out for the first time after, I think you guys had played it in the show already here.
Yeah.
Then playing it out, how is that actual response of the crowd going to be instead of just online, right?
Was it good?
It was amazing. I mean, yeah. Hands up and tears.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole generation of maybe even more than just one generation of dance lovers between Gouryella and then Anahera, because it's 15 years difference almost.
Yeah.
So you have a different crowd. Did the people over there already know the old tracks as well, like Gouryella, Valhalla, and
I think so. A lot of them, yes.
Yeah?
Because Gouryella has always been this thing ever since Thijs and I stopped working together, and I did the Gaia by myself after that. But even when I sort of like stopped with it, I don't know, when social media come up, right? I could just text something like, "Oh yeah, I'm having dinner with my grandparents tonight."
Yeah.
Oh, when there's a new Gouryella, the most random thing, and people will ask for a Gouryella throughout 13 years. So
you were like, okay, now I'll do it.
So it was, okay for you guys, all right. No, but I knew that it was still, living alive among the real trance fans, and it was just still very current in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So funny enough that another generation that was not actually part of the first wave was still very much looking forward to it and happy to hear those older tracks that they never really experienced.
Yeah.
Before.
Because they never heard those before.
Yeah. So it was really cool.
The last question, very, very relevant as well. Yellowstone the Giraffe had a question. Do you like giraffes?
I don't know, man. Have you ever gone to Blijdorp Zoo?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have the giraffe.
I love them.
Yeah, but they look straight in because you're elevated, right? When
they look into your face like
you're just as high as them. All of a sudden, it's like looks. They're cool when you're on the ground. You look up and you're like, oh, they're far away. That's cool.
Do you go there often with your kids to Blijdorp?
Yeah, they love it. But yeah, do I like giraffes? I think I like giraffes better as cartoons, I guess.
They're too scary.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ferry.
You too, man.
And of course, thank you so much for all the fantastic music. And everybody that's listening, make sure to check out the System F show, 20th of July at the Electronic Family.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that.
Okay, thank you so much for watching. The next one is going to be with Mark Sherry, 10 questions. So if you have any questions for him, write them down here in the comments. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Lifting you higher. This is A State of Trance.